Hello and welcome to Lost Love Chronicles.
Dear listeners, before we get started, drop a quick hi in the comments and let us know where you're tuning in from. Also, if you have any suggestions for us to make the channel better, please let us know. Now let's start with the story. My name is Roger. I'm a male in my mid-20s. Most of my childhood and early adulthood was laser-focused on education. I'm not naturally gifted, so I had to work twice as hard just to keep up. My parents were supportive, but they drilled the importance of discipline into me. No distractions, just books, school, and staying on track. Things finally eased up a bit during college. I had a little more breathing room, and I started getting more social. There was this girl in my social circle, Nat. I liked her, thought she was smart, pretty, and had a good sense of humor. So one day, I worked up the nerve to ask her out. When I did, she laughed. Not like a giggle, a full laugh. "Wait, seriously?" she said, still kind of chuckling. I was caught off guard. I knew I wasn't anyone's idea of eye candy back then, tall, skinny, awkward, but still. Yeah, I thought we got along. She waved her hands like she realized how bad it came across. No, I'm sorry. It's just, I didn't expect it. That's all. It's fine, I said, even though it stung more than I let on. She added, "I'm not really dating right now anyway." That part turned out to be a lie, or a soft letdown. Either way, I found out later she was definitely dating. Just not me. But whatever. She said no. I moved on. After college, I landed a good job in a different city, thanks to a combination of solid grades and an internship that turned into a full-time offer. It was far from my hometown, which suited me fine at the time. There, I met Tony and Steve, guys in their mid to late 30s who took me under their wing. They worked in the same department and, over time, became close friends. They were a couple, and together, they were probably the most socially skilled people I'd ever met. They got me out of my shell. "You gotta stop looking like a piece of uncooked spaghetti," Tony joked once. "Come to the gym with us." So I did. We trained together, joked around, and slowly, I started feeling better about myself. Not just physically, though that definitely changed. I wasn't that awkward beanpole anymore. With their help, I developed some confidence. They pushed me respectfully into more social situations. Bars, meetups, even speed dating once. 2 years passed like that. I wasn't some social butterfly, but I could talk to people, hold my own, and I wasn't afraid of putting myself out there anymore. Then life threw another curveball. Some issues came up back home, family health problems, and some financial strain. I asked my job if I could go fully remote to be closer to home. They agreed, as long as I traveled back to HQ quarterly for meetings and important events. So, just like that, I was back. Being home again was weird. Familiar, but distant. I ran into Nat at the grocery store a few weeks after returning. She was surprised to see me, and I was surprised by her too. She had a kid now, raising them on her own. She seemed to be doing all right, though. We talked briefly. Polite, surface-level stuff. Then we bumped into each other again at a mutual friend's party. That time, she was more direct. "So," she said, standing next to me with a drink in her hand, "when are you going to ask me out again?" I blinked. It hadn't really crossed my mind. Her face changed. Not angry, but definitely caught off guard. "Why not? I'm just not interested," I said. It came out calm. Not spiteful, just honest. Then I made my exit from the conversation, not rudely, but quickly. I didn't want to linger. Well, apparently that wasn't okay to do. Nat came and found me again. This time, she was clearly not done with the conversation. "Why aren't you interested?" she asked. "You were interested 2 years ago." I sighed. I wasn't in the mood to rehash this, but I stayed calm. "Yeah," I said. 2 whole years ago. A lot can change in 2 years. And back then, when I asked you out, you laughed. Then you told me you weren't dating when you actually were. You lied. That kind of ended it for me." She frowned. A normal person would be over that by now. I blinked. "Okay, maybe, but that's how I feel." Then she threw it out there. "Is it because I'm a single mom?" Honestly, yeah, that was part of it, but not the whole thing. I said carefully, I don't have any interest in dating single mothers right now. I'm just now getting comfortable dating in general. I'm not ready to take on all the extra stuff that comes with that kind of situation. She looked like she was waiting for me to say more, so I did. "But more than that, I'm just not attracted to you anymore, Nat. I don't see you that way." It was awkward as hell. She didn't really say anything right away, just stood there for a second and then walked off. I figured that was that again, but apparently, this whole thing wasn't done spiraling. Now I'm getting messages from her friends, blowing up my phone, texts, DMs, all pushing me to give her a chance. Like I'm some jerk for saying no. I don't get it. Am I crazy here? Tony and Steve, bless them, both told me straight up, "You don't owe her anything." But some of my friends from back home are saying the opposite. Stuff like, "Come on, man, just give her a shot. Or she's grown. Maybe things will be different." They're really pressuring me. And I haven't even talked to my parents about any of this. My younger brother? He thinks I should try. He's all, what's the worst that could happen? My older sister, on the other hand, told me, trust your gut. If you're not feeling it, you don't need to justify anything. I don't know. I just don't understand how or why this turned into such a big thing. All I did was say no. After reading and replying to a ton of messages and comments online seriously, the response was overwhelming. I ended up calling my sister last night. I needed someone who knew me, who could help me sort through the noise. I don't like this chaos, I told her. It's giving me anxiety. I just want it to be over. She agreed. Said it's not fair that I'm being put in this position just for turning someone down politely. After thinking on it some more, I made a decision. This morning, I reached out to Nat. I asked her if she'd meet me for coffee tonight. Just to talk. I made it clear up front. This is not a date. Just two people trying to clear the air, because I can't stand all the noise coming from her circle. I don't want to be enemies. I just want peace. She accepted pretty quickly and said she wanted to clear the air too. She even apologized for any craziness that's come up. That gives me a little hope that maybe this talk will actually be productive. Maybe we can end this on a calm, mature note. My sister, my mom, my cousins, so many of the women in my life are amazing people. They've supported me, challenged me, and helped shape who I am. So yeah, I don't like the tone some people have taken with all this. The disparagement, the generalizations. Can we just keep things civil? This isn't some broad indictment on women. It's a situation between two people. That's it. Let's stop making it something bigger than it is, please. Someone online username Darth Kites or something commented. No way. There is literally no benefit to you dating a single mom as a guy with options, let alone one who was not interested when you were less successful. I get what they're trying to say, but that's not how I see it. To be clear, the parenthood thing, it does make me feel anxious and uncomfortable. I won't lie about that. But honestly, in my head, that's not even the biggest issue. It's not the deal breaker. The real thing is, I'm just not attracted to her anymore. That's it. People keep talking about success, like this is some kind of revenge arc. I don't think that's fair. Yeah, I've done all right for myself, but people always expected a lot out of me. I worked for what I have, but that doesn't make me some prize to be won. And that she's successful in her own right. I know that. She's not a bad person. She's done well for herself. She's raising a kid. She seems to have her life together. This isn't about her being lacking. It's just, I'm not interested. Someone else online said, you saying that you are not interested is enough. It's pretty pathetic that she is now harassing you and having other people harass you just because you don't want to date her. That would make me be more turned off towards her. Does she think arguing with you about why you won't date her and getting other people to message you over it would make you what? Want her more? Or guilt you into dating her? I don't know what she's thinking. I really don't. I just know that I feel awkward. I've been laying low lately, avoiding the usual hangouts, avoiding her circle. I do feel guilty. Rejection's not something I've had to dish out much, and I don't like the idea of making someone feel bad. Someone else Magda's asked, given that she laughed at you last time, why should you give her a chance now? Fair point. But I try to be fair, too. She did tell me that she laughed because she didn't expect me to ask her out. And to be honest, I kind of believe her. I laugh when I'm nervous or caught off guard, too. I get that. But still, I just feel guilty. Her friends are talking her up, hard, saying all these great things about her. And she really does have a lot of great qualities. I'm not blind to that. But my gut's telling me no. Every time I think about it, I feel uncomfortable. And then another user said, you're not wrong. She lied to you when she rejected you. That's the only thing that matters. I appreciate that. Really, it helps to hear. Because that part, that lie, stuck with me. If she had just said she wasn't interested, that would have been fine. Then again, I do understand that sometimes women lie because they don't feel safe. I've read enough, heard enough, to know it's not always about deceit. Sometimes it's about self-protection. So I don't know that I necessarily blame Nat for how she rejected me back then. But it also doesn't exactly make me feel good. I checked online and replied thank you again to everyone who commented on my first post. This is going to be my last. Some of you got very angry, very quickly. I get it. Emotions run high when stuff like this hits close to home. But I wanted to clear a couple of things up before I tell you how last night went. For starters, I really try not to attribute behavior to malice if there's even the possibility it can be chalked up to incompetence or just messiness. Life's messy. People are messy. I think the world would be a better place if we all tried to assume good intent a little more often. I know I'd want the benefit of the doubt if I ever said or did something the wrong way, so I tried to extend that same thinking to Nat and her friends. Honestly, I'm glad I did. Nat has always kind of hovered around the edges of my life. We weren't ever close, not really, but in a small town, you get a general idea of who someone is over time. So when all this stuff started happening, the sudden boldness, the text from her friends, it threw me off. It shocked me, actually, because it didn't seem like her. And yeah, her friends blowing up my phone had me feeling stressed out and anxious. I'm just not used to that kind of concentrated social attention, especially not in that tone, with that kind of pressure. Still, even with all that, I don't think they're bad people. I think they're just good people behaving poorly. Anyway, what you probably came here to find out. I met Nat for coffee. Well, tea. We met at a local coffee shop last night. She showed up after me, maybe 10, 15 minutes late, and when she sat down, she gave me a bit of a sheepish smile. Sorry, she said. Childcare stuff. You know how it is. I didn't really, but I nodded anyway. She told me a little bit about her son, and about his father who, it turns out, is still very much involved in their lives. We just didn't work, she said. As a couple, I mean. But he's a great dad. Really dedicated, really supportive. We just were better as co-parents. That's all we can really be. There wasn't bitterness in her voice, just a kind of worn-out honesty. Eventually, I told her what I needed to say. These last couple of weeks have been stressful, I admitted. Because of your friends contacting me. I felt overwhelmed. I didn't know how to respond to all of it. She looked down at her drink and nodded. I didn't ask them to do that, she said quietly. I believe you, I said. And I'm sorry if my saying no hurt you. Or offended you. I paused, made sure to look her in the eye. But I'm not sorry for saying no. That stopped me right there. Wait, Roger, she said, her voice soft but steady. I want to say I'm sorry too. For all of it. She leaned in a little, her hands wrapped around her tea like she needed the warmth. I didn't intend for any of that to happen. The texts, the calls, the pressure. I didn't ask them to reach out like that. I think they were just trying to help in their own way. They're loyal. Maybe a little too passionate sometimes. I nodded slowly but didn't say anything yet. I wanted her to have the space to say what she needed to say. And I'm sorry for how I acted at the party, she added. I don't know, defensive? Embarrassed? It wasn't fair to take it out on you. She sighed. Look, I just started dating again recently. It hasn't been going great. I kind of expected that, but I didn't expect people to be so cold about it. I raised an eyebrow. Cold how? There was this guy, she said, looking away. The last one. He told me I was used goods. That no decent guy wants to deal with someone else's kid. He basically rejected me because I'm a single mom. Harshly. My stomach twisted a little at that, but I kept quiet. She looked back at me. So when I saw you, and you looked, well, good, she said with a slight smile, and you seemed way more confident and could actually hold a halfway decent conversation. I don't know. I was attracted to you not just physically, but to the way you'd grown. I blinked. That caught me off guard. I remembered how smart you were, how kind you always seemed, she continued. Back then, when you first asked me out, I didn't mean to laugh. I swear, Roger. I was just really surprised. I never even suspected you thought of me that way. I watched her carefully as she said that. It sounded honest. And truthfully, I do believe her. She gave a small chuckle. I was trying to flirt at the party, you know. I raised an eyebrow again. That was flirting. She laughed, really laughed this time, and nodded. Yeah, or it was supposed to be. She sobered a little. But when you rejected me, those negative emotions from the last guy just hit me all at once. I reacted badly. I complained to my friends, and they kind of took it from there. Tried to, you know, grease the wheels. To your credit, I said, the messages stopped after I reached out. She nodded. Yeah, I told them to cool it. Looking back now, I think maybe I overreacted too. When I reread some of those messages, trying to be more objective about it, they weren't necessarily attacking me. They were more like advocating, hoping I'd reconsider. But at the time, all of that attention felt overwhelming, like people were making demands of me. And I panicked. So yeah, that's basically it. She apologized. I apologized. And honestly, it's all way more mundane than I think some people were expecting. No, we're still not dating. And we're both okay with that. Though we did agree if the opportunity presents itself down the line and the timing is right, one or both of us might gently approach the idea again down the line, I guess. But honestly, I don't expect that to happen. I'm not banking on it. It's just not entirely a bad thought. But it's also not a thought I'd entertain for at least a few years. I like my life the way it is for now. I've finally got some stability, my work's going well, I've got real friends I trust, and I'm slowly figuring out what dating means for me. The idea of complicating that with feelings I'm not even sure are there anymore, it doesn't feel right. Not now. I read some of the comments people left. A few stood out. Someone said something like, "You seem like a very nice guy. Actual nice, the good kind. I'm sure your anxiety about the situation played a role, but underneath that you seem like a caring guy. With that said, stay away from Nat and her friends. She may not have intended the bum rush, but the fact her friends thought it appropriate at all is concerning. Listen to Tony and Steve, they have their heads screwed on right." I appreciated that. So I replied, "Thanks. Yeah, I'm really grateful to have Tony and Steve in my corner. I've been generally anxious most of my life. So, it's not a surprise that the pressure and chaos hit me hard. It's been a lot. Then I saw Faish's comment. Having read both bits of your story, I am simply baffled by why you are in any contact with her or her unbalanced friends. Do you want to be in high school forever? You did nothing wrong. She was unable to deal with her life, so she sicked her childish posse on you via the net. When an adult has a problem, they deal with it themselves. No adult messages a third party about who they should be dating. None of this was anyone's business, but yours, and certainly not that group of harpies. This is childish and sad. Stand up for yourself. Tell her to never bother you again and move on with your life. I mean, I get where that frustration is coming from, but I guess I don't see things as black and white as that. That was someone I liked, someone I respected once, and maybe part of me needed to give her the chance to redeem herself in my own mind. Not for her, just for me. To clear the air. That matters. The refrigerator put it better than I could have. It was someone he liked and had respect for at some point in his life, and he wanted to give her a chance to redeem herself as that person in his mind. Does she deserve it? I don't think that matters because he wanted to clear the air. Yeah, I don't think she or her friends are reasonable, but sometimes being human is to be unreasonable. It doesn't sound like he's going to date her or anything. Opie, thank you. I really did just want to settle the matter. When something feels unresolved, it makes me really uncomfortable. I don't like leaving emotional doors half open, especially ones that start knocking in the middle of the night, metaphorically speaking. I'm very glad that Nat was more agreeable this time around. I appreciated learning more about her life, some real context. It doesn't change how I feel romantically, but it helped me humanize the situation again, instead of just feeling hounded. I genuinely feel badly for her, especially hearing how the last guy or two treated her. The cruelty of it. I just can't fathom being that callous to another person. That kind of behavior doesn't make sense to me at all. Another one left a comment that made me smile. I'm surprised things didn't turn out as messy as I thought it would. I'm reading too much, boo. Post laugh out loud. All in all, I'm happy for OP as he seems like a nice guy. But for the best, going distance from Nat and her friends is the best solution. Now on to the next story. I'm 33. My wife is 30. We've been together for 6 years now. When I met her, I just knew. There wasn't a shred of doubt in my mind she was it. She was everything I'd ever thought I wanted in a woman, and then some. Funny how some people say love creeps up on you. Mine hit like a freight train. It wasn't easy at first, though. Took some convincing to get her to go out with me. She was new at the office where we both worked, and she didn't want to risk getting into trouble by dating a colleague. But I could tell, even then by the way she looked at me, the way she lingered in conversation, the way she smiled just a bit longer than she needed to that she liked me. I wasn't imagining it. Eventually, we went on our first date, and it was incredible. Everything clicked. I remember sitting across from her in that little Italian place near 8th, watching her laugh, watching her swirl pasta around her fork, and just thinking this is it. This is the beginning of something real. And it was. That date sparked the start of a whirlwind romance. We got married about 1.5 years after we first met. One of the things I loved most about her was her constant hunger for learning. Always picking up a new skill, diving into another language, reading about cultures and customs from places I'd barely heard of. She had this curiosity that made the world feel big and exciting, instead of overwhelming. She was so worldly. She loved to travel. She loved learning about different cultures, different histories, the way people lived and loved across the globe. I wasn't like that, not naturally, anyway, but I admired it in her. I looked up to it. I think part of me aspired to be like that too, because she made it look beautiful. When we first got married, we did a bit of traveling together. Singapore was our first big trip, vibrant, clean, alive with light. Then came Thailand. We visited Thailand together, which was incredible. When the pandemic happened, obviously we weren't able to travel at all. That was hard on everyone, but for my wife, it was something else entirely. Not being able to travel and explore the world really took a toll on her. It truly was her greatest passion, and being confined to the house for months, that was a nightmare for her. To cope, she joined this online group, a virtual club that met once or twice a month over Zoom. It was kind of like a cultural exchange. People would chat about places they'd visited, share experiences, talk about their cultures. It gave her something to look forward to, something that still felt expansive while being physically stuck inside. One of her favorite aspects of the group was the recipe sharing segment. Everyone would bring recipes from their cultures, and she'd try to recreate them in our kitchen. I still remember the Moroccan tagine she tried one weekend. She was so proud of that one. She loved her group. It became more than just a meeting. She actually became pretty good friends with a lot of the members. They'd talk away from the main Zoom calls, messaging, chatting, even playing games together or watching movies on Discord. I was happy for her. Genuinely. She had found something to hold on to during a time that could have easily broken a lot of people. When things finally started to clear, vaccines were rolling out, restrictions were lifting, and it was safe to travel again, she jumped at the first opportunity. I couldn't blame her. She needed it. The problem was, I couldn't go. I was back working at the office full time, and my schedule just didn't allow it. She, on the other hand, had been laid off early in the pandemic. I was supporting us both at that point, which I didn't mind. I was glad to be able to help us stay afloat. But that also meant if she wanted to travel, she could. The flexibility was hers. We had a long conversation about it. She felt bad about going without me. I feel guilty, she said one night, wrapping her fingers around a cup of chamomile. It's something we always said we'd do together, and now I'm leaving you behind. I looked at her for a while before answering. You were trapped for so long, I told her. I saw what that did to you. If this helps you breathe again, then you should go. She nodded, slowly. I hate that you won't be there, but I think I need this. I wasn't happy about it. Not really. It hurt feeling left out, like the person you shared your life with was going out to do this big, freeing thing, and you weren't a part of it. But I knew she needed that freedom, so I said yes. She left for a week. When she came back, she was glowing, happier than I'd seen her in a long time. She had gone to Germany to visit one of her friends from the group. She showed me pictures of them together, all the places she visited, the food she tried. There was this sparkle in her eye again, and for a while, I was relieved. I thought that trip might have been enough to hold her over until we could do it together. But I was wrong. If anything, it just opened the window wider. She wanted more. She had tasted that freedom again, and now she couldn't pretend she didn't crave it. And I still couldn't just drop everything. I couldn't ignore my responsibilities to go with her. I explained to her, gently but honestly, how her traveling alone made me feel. That even though I supported her need to explore, I felt sidelined. She listened. To her credit, she really did. She agreed, said she would wait until I could take some time off before going anywhere else. That meant a lot to me. I felt heard, and I trusted her. A couple of months after that, she came to me and said one of her friends from the online group was getting married. This friend had apparently been begging her to come. At first, I was actually hopeful. I thought maybe I'd be able to go too. I started calculating in my head, checking the calendar, figuring if I could request time off in advance. But then she gave me the exact dates of the wedding, and my heart just kind of sank. That's the same week as my conference in Chicago, I said, flipping through my planner. It's mandatory. I can't miss that. She blinked a few times and said, Oh, I forgot. I didn't even think about that. I'm sorry. At the time, I believed her. She sounded sincere, and I had no reason to think otherwise. She said, If you can't come, I won't go either. I only want to go if we can go together. But what I didn't realize then, what I only saw much later, was that she was lying. Back then, I trusted her completely, so I just took her word for it. I told her that if she really wanted to go, I wouldn't stop her. You don't have to stay back for me, I said. You've been looking forward to this. If it's important, go. She just nodded quietly. And for a few days, we didn't talk about it again. But in the weeks leading up to her supposed trip, something felt off. There was this shift in her energy. I couldn't put my finger on it. She was nervous around me. Not obviously, not dramatically, but just enough that I started noticing patterns. She wasn't meeting my eyes as much. When we'd talk, it always felt like she had something she was holding back, like something was on the tip of her tongue, but she wouldn't say it. I asked her once, Everything okay? Yeah, she said too quickly. Just stressed. Travel stuff. I tried to let it go. I had my own work to think about, and I didn't want to push her if she was just anxious about flying again or attending the wedding alone. When the time came, we actually left for our flights the same day, her to Europe, me to the work conference. I was swamped that whole first day. Meetings back to back, late dinners, networking. It didn't even occur to me to check in on her flight status while I was on the move. I figured she'd message me once she landed, like she always did. But when I finally got back to my hotel room and had a chance to sit down, I realized she hadn't sent me a single message all day. Nothing. Not even a landed safely. That's when a knot formed in my stomach. I pulled out my laptop and logged into the airline's website to check her arrival time. See, because I travel a lot for work, and she's always had a love for flying and planning trips, we had set up a joint account. We had set up that joint account so we could accrue miles every trip, every booking, all under one place. That night in the hotel room, still reeling from her silence, I logged in and went to the flight history section. That's when I saw it. There was a new flight logged. Her arrival matched the city she told me she was going to. But right beneath it, I saw a departure scheduled just an hour later. Destination, Paris, France. My chest tightened. She never said a word about going to Paris. Not once. I stared at the screen for a good 30 seconds, trying to make sense of it. Maybe there was a mistake. Maybe someone hacked the account and used our miles or card to book a trip. I took a screenshot of the itinerary and sent it to her. Did you book this Paris flight? just making sure it wasn't someone else. No response. 15 minutes later, the flight was already supposed to have landed in Paris. And that's when my phone rang. Her name flashed across the screen. I answered. Hey, everything okay? She sounded casual. Too casual. Yeah, sorry. I was at the airport. I had a little extra time, and I thought why not visit Paris for a day or two before the wedding. I didn't know what to say. That's a pretty big detour, don't you think? I said slowly. I know. I should have told you, she said quickly. It was a last-minute decision. I just needed some space. I thought it'd be fun. I was exhausted from my day and honestly too tired to get into it. So I let it go for the moment. We'll talk when you get back. Of course, she said. I hung up, set the phone on the nightstand, and just sat there in silence. The whole thing rubbed me the wrong way, not just the detour, but the fact that she didn't tell me. And those tickets weren't cheap. She always flew business or first class, and it added up quickly. We weren't hurting for money, I had a great job, and I'd been supporting both of us since she was laid off at the start of the pandemic, but still, big expenses like that? I just wanted to be kept in the loop. I told myself we'd talk about it later and tried to put it out of my mind. I went to sleep. In the morning, the first thing I saw was a new text message from an unknown number. Didn't think much of it at first, probably spam, I figured. I get a lot of those. But then I opened it. It was a photo. My wife, standing in front of a mirror, naked, and behind her some man, also naked, holding the phone, taking the picture. No caption, no explanation. I stared at it, stunned. Immediately, I replied, "Who is this? Who are you?" The message was marked as read, but there was no reply. I had to pull myself together. The conference I was attending wasn't just any event, it was hugely important for my works. I tried as best as I could to push what I saw to the back of my mind just to get through the day. It wasn't easy. I avoided my phone like it was radioactive. The thought of seeing a message from her, something sweet, something like, "I love you," or "wish you were here," after that picture, it made me feel sick. So I got through my conference sessions the best I could. Focused where I had to, nodded through conversations, acted like my world wasn't currently imploding in real time. When the day finally ended, I went back to my hotel room and checked my phone. I saw that the unknown number had tried to call me twice. I didn't hesitate. I hit redial. A man answered. His voice was casual, smug even. "Hello. Who is this?" I asked, my voice already sharp. "Why did you send me that picture?" There was a pause before he spoke again. "Just figured you should know, mate," he said, with a thick French accent. "You're barking up the wrong tree trying to talk to your wife." My blood ran cold. "What the hell are you talking about? That's my wife. If anyone is barking up the wrong damn tree, it's you." He gave this little laugh, like he was amused by the whole thing. "She didn't tell you? Huh, interesting." I didn't reply. I didn't need to. His accent, the picture, the sudden trip to Paris, it all clicked. That's why she booked that second flight. That's why she lied about the wedding. It was all to be with him. The man in the photo. The man now breathing into my ear through the receiver like this was some kind of twisted victory lap. I hung up on him. Without thinking, I logged back into the airline website. I needed to confirm something. Sure enough, she hadn't booked another ticket back to the original city she told me she was going to. The only booking that remained on our joint account was her return flight home. Just the one flight. She had no plans to go back to the city where she was supposedly attending a wedding. Because there was no wedding. At this point, I seriously doubted there ever was. And then I did something that felt automatic. I removed my payment details from the site. No hesitation. Then I canceled her return flight. I sat there staring at the confirmation screen, feeling nothing. Not guilt. Not fear. Just this clear, resolute coldness. I didn't know the full story. Didn't know what lies she'd spun to that guy, or how long this had been going on. I just knew one thing. She cheated on me. She lied straight to my face so she could fly off to another continent and sneak around with some guy behind my back. She took advantage of the trust one gave her, the freedom I gave her when I agreed to let her go, and she used it to humiliate me. There was nothing left to talk about. I wrapped up the conference. As soon as it ended, I went home. If she was going to cheat on me, betray everything we built, then I was going to take everything from her in return. Let her be stranded in Paris. She could stay there for the rest of her life, and I wouldn't care. When the time came for her to come home, my phone started lighting up calls, texts, notifications one after the other. She was asking about the canceled flight, pretending to be confused. "Why did you cancel my flight? What's going on?" She had no idea her little boyfriend had already blown her cover. I stared at her name on the screen, watched it flash over and over before finally picking up. I kept my voice calm. "I know everything." There was a pause. Then she said, "What do you mean?" I mean, I know where you really went. I know who you're with. And I know what you've been doing." Another pause. "It's not what you think." "No," I said bitterly, "because it looks exactly like what I think. You weren't going to sneak back into the States and smile in my face after screwing around in Paris. Not on my dime. Figure out your own way home. She scrambled to explain. Said I misunderstood the picture. That it was old. That photo, that was from years ago. That was my ex. You're blowing this out of proportion. I took a slow breath and gave her one last out. You have one chance. One. Tell me the truth. Silence. Then, she caved. She admitted it. The guy from Paris, he was someone from her online group. They'd started talking more, gotten close. She said he seduced her. Said he was in a band. Artsy. The kind of guy she used to be into before she met me. I didn't say a word. I just let the silence hang there. Then I said flatly, when you get home, the divorce papers will be waiting. I hung up. I didn't buy her a ticket back. She didn't have any of her own money, hadn't since getting laid off. I completely cut her off after learning the truth. She ended up having to call around, asking people for help. Eventually, her sister paid for her ticket. Her sister then called me and laid into me over the phone, furious that I'd stranded her in Paris. I didn't care. Later, I got curious. I went online and started digging, trying to find out who this guy was. She said he was in a band, and that was all I needed. When I found him, I was surprised by how many followers he had. He was a growing artist, I'll give him that. Had a rising fan base, and one of his recent songs was actually doing pretty well, streaming numbers, buzz, the whole thing. I knew it was wrong when I did it. I'm not going to sit here and pretend it was some noble move. But I couldn't help myself. I was angry, betrayed, humiliated. So I took that photo he sent me, the one with him and my wife. I blurred out her face so she couldn't come after me legally, then posted it using a throwaway account. I tagged him directly, wrote out a story with it, told everyone how this man slept with a married woman, how he wrecked a relationship, how he shattered a life. It blew up. The post got a lot of views. A lot. And the reaction? Pure sympathy. People took my side almost immediately. Some even recognized the guy. It was vindicating in a way I didn't expect. Meanwhile, the divorce was finalized. She moved out and went to live with her sister while trying to piece her life back together. She had to get back into working in person again, which I knew was going to crush her desire to travel whenever and wherever she pleased. I'll admit it made me smirk. A little poetic justice. A couple of months later, I got curious and checked in on his band, just to see how things were going. Turns out, the post had made waves. The reception was mixed. Fans were divided. Then I saw a post from one of the band members on Instagram. They put out a statement saying that, in light of recent events, they decided it would be best for the group to part ways and go down different paths. Honestly, it felt kind of good knowing their band might have broken up because of me. Dear listeners, please share your thoughts in the comments section below and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.